back to the pit because, like, oh my God, a friend of mine texted me this morning because I showed him an in-car video of me in the car and he saw my hands doing all kind of stuff. He said, "What are you doing with your hands?" And my answer was, "I'm driving that. That's what I'm doing."
23 years of doing Speed Freaks, Freak Nation. Angelle Sampey, like it or not, has been a part of those 23 years. And it's great to get her back here in the Freak Nation. Angelle, every time we run into you at the track, whether it's at Antron's pits or you're doing your trying to make sure a lot of people are munching on your Mission chips, there's always stories to tell. And we got an inkling that this might be happening, that you might be getting in a four-wheel car, but holy smokes, this is happening now, man, where you've got your top alcohol license. Is there a car established? When do you start? What's the itinerary?
Yeah, it's been crazy because people have been asking me, are you going to come back to racing? Are you going to race a bike in the countdown? Because I had originally said after last year that my goal was to lease a bike or possibly own my own motorcycle and race at least in the countdown, since I'm busy doing the Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge with Mission during the regular season. And so I've been knowing about this for a couple of months now and haven't been able to say anything. Lately, I kind of was letting it slip, saying, "Oh, I got some news coming soon," and like, "Oh, you're coming back on a bike?" I'm like, "Well," and I just leave it at that. And so, I wanted to say it so bad, but we tried to keep it a secret as much as we could. It's hard to do that at the racetrack when people see you in the car, and Antron and I spending a lot of time together on the starting line, watching A-fuel cars go to, like, why are Antron and Angelle sitting on the wall watching A-fuel cars all morning long? So, there was some speculation, but it's out now. I made 8 runs in Jasmine Salinas' A-fuel car. Oh my gosh, craziest, funnest, scariest, wildest, stupidest thing I've ever done in my whole life, but it was amazing. First 2 runs, I was scared to death. I knew probably by the end of the day on Monday, I would be telling Antron, "I'm so sorry that, I agreed to this, but I'm not going to be able to do this. This is just not for me." But after the 3rd and 4th round, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is starting to come together now." And then Tuesday, we had the day off for travel. We went from Brainerd to Indy. And then yesterday, we tested again with Jasmine's car. And it was just like day and night.
Okay, Angelle, I'm not buying the fact, though, that you had a little bit of fear getting in the A-Fuel dragster and taking that thing for a ride down the drag strip, because you got a seatbelt there, you got a roll cage there. You didn't have that on your motorcycle.
Then you would be right if you're not buying it, because I didn't have a little bit of fear. I had a lot. My whole body was trembling. My knees were shaking. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to tell Antron so bad, "I don't want to do this. Don't make me do this." I felt like, what I felt like? My poor baby, my little girl, Maya, we forced her to ride a roller coaster earlier this year. And she was crying and begging not to get on that roller coaster. And we made her do it because we knew once you ride it, you're going to love it. And I felt so bad because I forced my baby to get on this roller coaster. And exactly what I thought was going to happen happened. We took off. She was screaming in fear, but when it was over, she was like, "I want to do it again." And so I knew that I had done the right thing. Well, that's where I was on Monday. I was looking up at Antron like, "Please don't make me do this." I was like about to beg him to let me out of the car, but I sucked it up and put my big girl panties on. I drove that. Oh. I know exactly why Erica says she drives that back to the pit, because, like, oh my God, a friend of mine texted me this morning because I showed him an in-car video of me in the car and he saw my hands doing all kind of stuff. He said, "What are you doing with your hands?" And my answer was, "I'm driving that. That's what I'm
doing." Okay, so let me get it straight where this bitch is going to be driven next year. It's going to be with the McPhillips team. Is that correct? And
well, we don't know. We're actually we're in limbo on where we're going with that right now. We definitely are looking to stay partnered up with Scrappers Racing and Jasmine's car. That just happened to fit me perfectly.
Who came to whom with this idea? Did you go to Antron, or did Antron come to you? How did all this come about?
So I went to him with Antron and I have been very, very close friends, best friends for 26 years now. and we're the type of best friends that we can go 6 months without talking to each other and pick up where we left off. So there's been times, we haven't been around each other, but nothing changes. But if I have something going on in my life, whether it's personal or business or family, he's one of the first people I pick up the phone to call. So during the off season, we were on the phone several times, and I told him, he's like, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to own my own motorcycle. It's something I've never done. And that's when he said, I don't think you should put all your time and effort into bikes anymore. I think you need to move on. I'm like, move on to what? I mean, there's something other than motorcycles? And he's like, why don't you try cars? Would you consider racing a car? I'm like, no, like that's not anything I've ever wanted to do. And then he starts talking about, well, I think you should go to Top Fuel. And I pretty much laughed at him, because not only I'm not interested, I don't want to. No, I'm not racing a Top Fuel car. And so we just kept talking about it. He kept that conversation would be over. I'd call another day. He'd say the same thing. It just kept happening. This time I said, okay, I'll do it. Put me in a car. My phone rang. It was him. He's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm like, oh, crap. He was serious.
The weekend you've been waiting for is back. Are you ready to feel the ground shake? Are you ready for the sound of thunder? Are you ready for an adrenaline-pumping 3-second thrill ride? The NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series returns to Worldwide Technology Raceway September 29th through October 1st. Go to WWTRaceway.com to get your tickets now.
What was it about was it the speed? What was it that made you uncomfortable about driving a dragster?
I've only known motorcycles all my life. So 200 and almost 203 miles per hour is what I've done on my Pro Stock motorcycle in 6 seconds. I don't know any different. That's just what I know. It's what I'm used to, but I didn't know anything about this car. Yes, the speed scares me. Being strapped in it, not being able to move scares me. Being wrapped up like I was saying earlier, I feel like I'm wrapped 3 times in an oven mitt all over my entire body. The only thing that's exposed is your eyeballs. And then, yesterday in Indy, it was 98 degrees, and I thought I was going to panic and pass out inside the car. So all those things, it's just every type of uncomfortable feeling that you can imagine, from fear to being uncomfortable to being hot to it's like, oh my gosh. There's so much going on, and I just didn't think I could emotionally handle it. 20 years ago, somebody asked me this in the press conference, do you think it would have been better to do this 20 years ago than now at your age? I'm like, yeah, 20 years ago I was a lot more stupid than I am now. A lot more brave, I guess. I was willing to hang off of a motorcycle and risk my life, and now I'm not willing to do that. I have a family. But the sport has come such a long way with safety and the different things they do to keep these drivers safe. So that was the reason why I considered it, because Antron really sat with me and talked about the differences. He's like, he said what you just said. He said, Angelle, you're on top of a motorcycle doing 200 miles an hour with nothing protecting you. Mm-hmm. He's like, you'll be in a car strapped in with a roll cage with, you're going to be protected. But I just kept thinking, I don't know. I just pictured I'm going to stomp the pedal and the car is going to turn sideways and flip upside down. He's like, no, it's not like that. so getting down the racetrack and seeing that the car wants to go straight, mm-hmm. It's a lot different than I really expected it to be. I do still completely understand the dangers and respect every part of it, in full. And I say my prayers every time, for God to wrap his protective hands around me the whole way down this racetrack. And that's how it's going to be every single pass. But I don't know. Something about me just decided all right, let's give this a try. So I told my publicist that, when we talked about all this in the beginning, she loved the quote that I said, I feel like I've been reborn in drag racing. And that's exactly what's happening. I'm completely a rookie all over again. Don't know what I'm doing. Going to learn it, though. But all the pressure's off. So what was ruining me at the end of my career with Pro Stock bikes, because I had so much pressure on myself to perform and win again, I don't have that anymore. I'm starting off like a baby in an A-Fuel car with no expectations. And I have this huge world of possibilities, and I'm going to go for it.
Wait, hold on real quick, though. You say no expectations, but you are uber competitive. Oof. So that will factor in after 1 or 2 races, I would think.
Oh, absolutely. And especially with Antron, because he and I are so competitive with each other. But I just want to be as good as he is one day. But yeah, so I don't have any expectations right now because I'm learning so much. You know, I'm actually really nervous to even consider Dallas happening because there's going to be a car in the other lane. Like right now, I'm just testing all by myself, and I'm going to have to get used to someone else staging and hearing that noise, and it's going to be crazy. So I'm sure Dallas is going to be. I'm going to be nervous. I'm going to be scared. If I can just do a good job and give the racer in the other lane a good, clean start, that's my biggest concern, because that starting line procedure and the staging procedure is hard. You know, holding the car back once you put the car on the high side and you're holding that brake and you got to bump into the stage beams. I'm used to just rolling the bike forward with my feet. That's easy. You know, now you got to do this craziness. And if you go too far, you can't back up. And so I'm nervous about that. And I just want to make sure that whoever I'm racing realizes that I'm a rookie and I'm trying my best, and I'm gonna make it as clean as I can.
Mission Foods has done wonders for Angelle Sampey this year, giving her the platform to talk, because she's talking. You scared the hell out of you sticking microphones in front of people initially, but damn it, Angelle, you can't be quiet, which is awesome.
Look, that was probably, I say that getting in that A-field car on Monday was one of the most uncomfortable situations I've ever been in, but putting me in the role of a interviewer and having to ask racers questions was really uncomfortable at first. I didn't know what to ask. I didn't know how to get them to talk. I'm the one that answers the questions. You ask me and I can answer anything. But I don't know what to ask and I don't know how to feel. And it was weird, but you know, it just took a couple of races to get used to it and realize what they wanted me there for. And, once I felt like I deserved that position, I started to enjoy it, and now I'm having a blast. I can actually go to the racetrack and have so much fun and never, ever go down the drag strip, and I never thought that was going to be possible. So I'm enjoying that world of being the spokesperson for Mission Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge. I'm going to keep doing that. They're keeping me as their brand ambassador, but I get to race in the countdown, and next year we'll see how it goes with doing both. It's going to be exciting and busy, but I'm going to give it a try.
Well, you know what a lot of folks have on their mind is the fact they hope that you get a chance to line up next to Tony Stewart, Angelle Sampey, and whoop his ass.
Yeah. It's, you know, Tony was there Monday when we were testing. He is amazing. I don't know how much you've talked to him. I'm sure it's been a lot, but a lot of fans that may have never met him before. When I first met Tony 20-something years ago, I didn't like him. I thought he wasn't a nice person. But it was because he didn't talk to me. They introduced us. He had nothing to say. And now he tells me that, you know, well, he was kind of intimidated by me and I was definitely intimidated by him and we just didn't speak. But now we've met each other all these years later, and he is one of the most genuinely nice people I've ever met. I absolutely love him. He's very supportive, very motivating. He was standing next to my car a lot of the times on Monday, you know, leaning over, talking to me because he's doing this. He's been in the A-field car a lot. So he was giving me some pointers and some advice, what to expect, how it's going to feel, you know, what to do if this happens. And it was really awesome because I have some pictures and video of Antron standing on one side of the car and Tony Stewart on the other side. I'm like, man, look at that. Like I'm standing in between these two awesome guys getting taught. I mean, who would ever think that Tony Stewart was going to teach me how to drag race? So that's pretty funny.
Yep.
But he's doing it.
Wow. Yeah, that sentence right there. Who would ever think that Tony Stewart, the NASCAR legend, would teach Angelle Sampey how to drag race? And she's a drag racing legend of her own.
But hold on.
Giving me pointers.
Statman's thinking
I took in every bit of it. Leah came over. She had some pointers for me. You know, it was comforting to talk to her. There was a lot of people telling me what to do or what to expect. And, you know, some people were getting concerned that there was so many people talking to me, but I was taking it all in. Every word that everybody told me helped.
For whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
Statman, you're wondering the same thing that I'm wondering is why in the hell are you so enamored with Tony and Antron? You're a 3-time bike champion with a woman in a sport that's dominated by men. I would imagine that Tony, that's why Tony was an a-hole to you 20 years ago. He says, this woman goes 200 miles an hour on a bike. She could whoop my ass in a split second. We know Tony well enough that he was intimidated by you.
I've always, my mom raised me, she beat it in my head to believe, and I've said this many times throughout my career, that no one is better than me, and I am better than nobody. We're all the same. We all stand up, sit down, sleep. We do everything. We got to get through life the same, and everybody's got their own problems, and everybody's got their own issues, and everybody's got their own thoughts about themselves. Some people might be 10 times more beautiful than me, but I guarantee you she's probably got some kind of self-esteem issue. So, I mean, you just never know what someone's going through. It doesn't matter what you look like, what color you are, how big you are, how small you are. We all have to get through this life one day at a time, and it's rough. And so I've always kept that in mind throughout my whole career. And I still to this day am fascinated by the people that stand in line to get my autograph. It's crazy to me. But I feel so blessed by it. And I've come to appreciate it over the years, to know that it's not weird. I have people that I want to meet and get autographs from. I just didn't know how to handle that for the first part of my career. I thought it was weird. But now I use it as the wind beneath my wings. My fans are the ones that keep me going. I actually put a lot of pressure on myself because of how much support I have. I feel like I need to do well. I need to win because people want to see that. And I'm afraid that if I don't succeed, I'm going to lose my fans and I'm going to lose the support. But I've learned over the years that when I'm not succeeding and I'm not winning, they're even more supportive. So, and I don't know if that's in all forms of motorsports, but drag racing is amazing. Our fans are just so wonderful.
We just want to see you have fun.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the plan. And Antron just said that. We just did an interview together, and he said that is his absolute biggest goal, is for me to have fun at the races again. So that's what we're going to do.
Don't race a golf cart with Tony Stewart.
Nope. Or at least
Whatever you do, he'll run you into the ravine. Don't race a golf cart with Tony Stewart.
We had this conversation the other day about how crazy racers are, no matter what kind of racing they do. But racers are one crazy breed of human being. I mean, it doesn't matter if you are kicking a golf ball across a parking lot. I'm going to do it better than the racer next to me. I mean, it doesn't have to be racing a car or racing a lawnmower. I mean, I don't care if it's racing a little tiny slot car. We have to win. So yeah, by all costs, if I got to crash you, I got to wreck you into the wall, I'm going to win. And I guess that's how Tony feels.
Yeah. Hey, Angelle.
But in drag racing, thank goodness, you have to stay in your lane and I stay in mine.
Well,
and that's the way we're going to keep it.
Listen, Angelle, and again, it's men too, but women in particular in motorsports and drag racing, securing sponsorships. We talked ad nauseum with Erica Enders about that. 5-time Pro Stock champion has a tough time getting sponsorship. You're a 3-time champion, which I know is a tough time getting sponsorship. Doesn't that weigh on you as much or more than sitting in that race car wondering if you're going to do 360s at the starting line?
It does, actually. It has more of a mental effect on you than you would know. I'm sure a lot of fans don't think about this. People wonder, like, why do you get in such a rut and you can't do a good job on the racetrack? And they think it's the only thing you're dealing with is letting the clutch go on a motorcycle. And God, there's so much more to that when it comes to professional drag racing or any kind of motorsports. Everything about my every single day is about being competitive and being successful in motorsports. And that's also with trying to find sponsorship and funding to get out there and do it. And then when you can't pull it together and it happened to me in motorcycles many times, you can't find the funding to do it. You start to wonder what's wrong with you. Like, why can't I find it? Why doesn't anybody want to have me as a representative? And it's nothing personal, although some fans love to say that. They think, oh, well, the sponsors don't want anything to do with you. But it's such a business to business world out there now. And if I don't have a way to help sell a product in a business to business way, which I really don't, my husband and I build saltwater aquariums, and now we build swimming pools at home. So, it's hard to find a way to get that sponsor on the track with you. But you start to think that your career is over and that maybe you should just shut it down and go home. And I had gotten to that point several times in my career. And then this last year when I was struggling really bad on the racetrack and I lost my deal with Vance and Hines, and I didn't even know where to start finding funding to race another bike, which is why I called Antron. And so the mission thing came along. Mr. Gonzalez wanted me to do the Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge, and that led to this, him being partners with me. So I just believe that everything happens in God's timing, and things are working out for me as they should. One door closed, another great big one opened. And I'm going to try to not be so hard on myself with this, whether it's because of sponsorship or, not winning or not doing well on track. I'm just going to try to enjoy myself, like Crash said, and go out there and have a good time at this and start all over again.
Hey, Stat, I'm going to lean on this one. Again, I intended to get out of here 15 minutes ago, Angelle. I know your daughter's looking at you going, Mom, wrap this S up.
She went back to her room.
Hey, but you've got, and I know I'm leaving out some women here, but specifically in drag racing, Shirley Muldowney, Erica Enders, yourself. The three things that come to mind that were synonymous with you three is you spoke your mind, which railed against men and people in general. But really, frankly, that's been the attraction for us, is that you girls aren't afraid of Crasher. As I look at her, same thing. You're not afraid to show your emotions and speak your mind and show your warts, which I think would be advantageous in 2013 and where we are now as a country.
Yeah. So my problem is that you say I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I don't know how to stop it sometimes. Stuff comes out of my mouth. I'm like, oh God. Like if I could just rewind 5 seconds and not say what I just said, because I don't have a filter. I think it, I say it, and that hasn't been always good for me. But I guess, like you say, my grandmother told me she thought controversy was popularity. And if you're causing some kind of controversy, you're going to be popular. I've never done it on purpose to try to, popularity is not even really what I wanted. I just wanted to race. I want to race. I want to race. I want to race. I don't care if there's not a single person in the stands watching. I just want to race. So having the support from the fans is the icing on the cake. But, oh God, yeah. So me, Erica, and Shirley, we are definitely three that will not hold our tongue. And fortunately, the three of us love each other. Because can you imagine if we didn't?
Boom.
Ugh.
Wow.
But we all do. We get along just great.
Perfect.
It's awesome. I know Statman could go another 30 minutes with you, but she's got to get back to her daughter, Statman.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
Yeah, well,
Well, thank you guys for having me. I feel like it's been forever since I've been on with you.
It has. And I have a feeling these are going to be more frequent. I just have a feeling.
Hope so. I hope we have a lot more to talk about in the future. I hope this whole thing pans out like Antron and I want it to. I'm sure going to give it my all. And don't forget about me, even if I'm not doing well.
Got a girl.
Oh, nobody will.
We're big fans of yours, Angelle.
Thank you. Same here. I love you guys. I feel like I've been knowing you forever.
You have.
Yeah, you were there before we went on the air.
I know.
Wow. Angelle Sampey, 3-time Pro Stock Bike champion, now going top alcohol drag racing, ready to kick Tony Stewart's ass. Thanks for doing this, Angelle.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good day.
At Lucas Oil, we take pride in creating problem-solving products to make your car care easier. We protect your vehicle and make it run longer so you can focus on the things that matter most. Whether it's commuting to work, visiting a loved one, taking the kids where they need to go, going to the big game, or anywhere life takes you, Lucas Oil is committed to getting you there for all of life's important moments. Lucas Oil, it works.